Hey, Happy New Year. Super excited for today. We got Justin on with us today. Real quick, I wanted to bring your guys' attention to Land Insights though. So Land Insights, a couple things are changing. V2 is coming out. So make sure you're on the wait list. We have 25 seats opening up. I believe on the 25th, 15th of this month. I'll have to double check that, but it's opening up soon. So definitely get in here. You hit this get started thing. You're going to sign up. You're going to give them your email, name, and all that stuff. You'll get notified once it comes up. When you do that, you get this 7-figure market selection secrets program, which is awesome. This is going to help guide your business to 7 figures. So definitely get in here. Definitely sign up for that. I brought on, say hello, guys, to Justin. Justin, what's up, man?
Not
What's
too
going on
much.
with Leah? Tell us a little about the change.
Yeah. So Leah has definitely caught on like wildfire. As of today, we've switched up the format in terms of how we're admitting people. So we have a limited number of seats every month. Every month starts with 15. Um, One's already been taken this month, so we're at 14. And full process is, you set up a call with us, and we'll dive into things, see how we're a fit for each other. And then just kind of go into it from there. And really excited to continue helping people out with their land business coming up in this year. I think we almost quadrupled in size just in the last year. So growing a lot, seeing a ton of great results overall. Just super excited to kind of keep this thing going.
I love it, man. So what is your role inside Leah? So we're going to talk about today how to do this business even with a job and even having like a W-2 and all this stuff, how you're still able to do this. Um, I mean, your job is land, but it's a little bit different because you're helping other people grow their business. So what is your job inside Leah?
Yeah, great question. So as of today, I guess you could kind of see myself as the gatekeeper to the community. So working with all interested parties and people that are looking to join Leah. And then from there, honestly, just helping people kind of take that leap and investing in themselves and in their business. So obviously that takes up most of my time. I would say I probably take 100 plus calls for Leah a month. And then obviously I have to build my own land business. That was definitely a big part of me joining this team is to start that up for myself.
Mhm.
So I think we'll dive into the topics a little bit more later about the specifics of land business, time management, and how we're doing things right now and my group. But yeah, as of today, taking a ton of calls, but typically it's just helping people out to see if they're a good fit, see if we can, help grow their land business, and then taking that leap, and then just some little support stuff here and there. I've helped a couple students getting some certain technology set up, some little things here and there. Uh,
Mhm.
but the role is always expanding, and we're definitely keeps us busy. But that's what we're doing today.
That's awesome. So did you have a land business before you started working with Leah, or had that all come to be?
I did not. So background for me, I come from I went to Gonzaga University, uh, did my undergrad and grad there, and then got into tech sales after that. And then 2020 hit. Started to work remote, saw a lot of people doing remote jobs, remote businesses, stuff like that. Really always wanted to get into real estate. Come from a real estate family,
Mhm.
and at one point just kind of hit my breaking point working a typical W-2, and was like, you know what, I'm just going to go on my own, figure it out. So that led me to commercial real estate, I think I was taking like a 2,000 a month draw to make 150 cold calls a day. uh, did that for about 11 months,
Yeah.
which was an absolute grind. I think I love to do the math just to see how many calls I did, and I think it was like at one point like 45,000 or something like that. It was absurd. Um, so no problems picking up the phone and dialing, but that's a pretty eat or be eaten industry, and actually got connected with Sumner through our gym down in San Diego, um, and so he posted an opening for Leah, and I just decided to apply, and I was because it seemed like a good guy and everything like that. And so I came into this completely blind. I think I joined the Discord like a week before taking an interview with Sumner, and we hit it off, and the rest is history. So I did not have a land business before, but had always been pretty focused on real estate in some capacity, and even had that job prior. Actually, I was doing both at the same time for about 8 months before going full time into Leah and land as well.
Nice. Yeah, it's tough to run a business and like work for somebody else. So I totally get how you feel, man. Like I have a couple different businesses and we do a couple different things in general inside. It's real estate, it's also other things too. I actually had one of my old companies call me back and they asked me to project manage for them for another project. So until April, I technically have a W-2. And I mean, it's very low pressure. I work like 5 hours a day, if that, managing a project in Jersey City, whatever. But I probably work 20 hours a week to make like 150K a year. So it's like super easy.
Nice.
It gets me my benefits and everything like that. So I'm like, can't say no to it, right? Easy project. I left them for like a year and a half. Then they asked me to come back. So I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So what I love about this land business is there's so much stuff that you do on the front end that allows you to be able to do whatever you want. Because a lot of this business, and you could speak to this too, is a lot of front end work. There's a lot of like pricing markets, picking markets, doing all that stuff. I'd say it's like 75% front end and then 25% back end, right? And the back end is totally hireable. Like if you want to do your own acquisitions, you can, but you could hire all that stuff out too, right? I feel like the biggest, all right, if you were to say what's the number one thing in the land business, what do you think it is? What would you say it is?
Market analysis for sure.
Boom, right? I would say exactly the same thing. It's picking markets, market analysis, right? That's your number one thing. You could do that anytime, literally anytime. Now, with houses and other real estate ventures, it's a lot harder to do this because a lot of that stuff it's back end, but it's more front end focused. Is a lot of talking to people and doing the cold calling and doing the outreach and doing the this and that. Very outwardly focusing. And then it's a lot of nurture, right? You have to nurture a lot of your clients and nurture them to the closing table and all that stuff. Land business is totally different, right? You're allowed, like, the nurture is a lot less here, right? Not holding a lot of people's hands. I don't know how I mean, you said you did some real estate before, commercial real estate, right? And if you're experiencing that, it's a lot of like when you get a deal, it's like there's like 27, 30 touches just to get a finish line, if not more. Especially in commercial, you could be hundreds of touches, right?
Yeah.
So average wholesale deal in real estate is about 27 touches to get to one deal, right? So it's one person you have to have 27 conversations with. That's the average. Sometimes it could be 150, sometimes it could be 3, right? So that's where that business is draining. Right? It's very draining. Even like traditional real estate, like a real estate agent, they're very high on the touches too, because you have to constantly keep touching people. What I've noticed in the land business, and just starting it this year, is I've noticed that I have a lot less like middle day work that I have to do to make stuff move. Right? There's a lot less stuff that I have to do at like 2 to 3 o'clock that I used to have to do in other ventures of real estate. So it's pretty interesting to me, and that's really one of the best reasons why I'm going like all in on this business, is because I could build something that is. I'm an early bird. I could do this stuff really early in the morning and put all my inputs in the morning so that all my outputs later on are done by other people, which is awesome. So working with Leah, right? Is that one of the reasons why you joined as like their sales guy, or what would you say your role is? Just like middleman, sales guy? What do you think it is?
Pretty much, yeah. It's a very, I guess, different type of sale, if you will, because
It's not a sale. It's like a guiding light.
Yeah, it's really nice.
You're not trying to push them on something. You're just showing them like, dude, here's the opportunity. Like, if you don't take this, you're kind of a dummy.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Like, so that's the biggest thing, and I think that's why Sumner and I kind of aligned at an early point. Is that was never my sales style in general, even going back to to tech and stuff like that, I was always very empathetic and just like to listen to the seller or the potential buyers and stuff like that. So with this one, it's really just like, here's what we do, right? And I see, this is where you're having challenges. I can pull from 20 plus examples of people that have had that exact same issue, if not more, from Leah. And just be like, look, I know it's an investment, but the opportunity here so far exceeds that initial investment, that it's not even close, right? So it's not even like a sale, right? At the end of the day, people are going to join Leah, and now we have a cap on it, so maybe there's some more urgency. But I'm really there just to kind of open the curtains, if you will, on what Leah is, and then just kind of work with them from there. And we're always happy to make things work out if need be. But yeah, that's basically what I'm doing on a daily basis.
Yeah. You're like the guy that's, opening the doors for the Olympics and like running the torch in. That's you, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
You're like the guiding light, the guiding principle, the person that everybody needs to talk to and to understand like what can truly be possible, right? Yeah, he's the keeper, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy, you shall not pass.
Yeah, exactly. But the cool thing is, and like, I talked to, oh my gosh, I probably talked to over 500 people at this point. But the few, I've admitted probably 120 or so people, give or take. And not everyone is a great fit in terms of the people that don't make it to that point. But the people that do, it's just so cool to see them succeed. And I could honestly say that it's still early for a lot of people, but most people find some form of success pretty quickly, if not within 3 to 6 months. And it's always pretty cool to see that. And I know that they got their return on that investment, or even double, triple, quadrupled it, in a pretty easy time frame, right? So yeah, that's always great. But what's cool is I'm working with someone now who isn't a Leah student yet, but just like you said, you can outsource everything after that market analysis portion. And so he has a land business that he's in an interesting position where he had a partner, but has just gone off on his own, has a really good system in place in terms of acquisitions, and they just have a really good follow-up process, right? And after doing like a year-end review of my current land business, the biggest gap for me was taking these deals to the finish line. And what happened was I got super free with Leah. Like there was like a time gap where we just weren't having as much meetings scheduled and so on. So I went all into land. And then after I go all into land, Leah starts to pick back up. And so as that happens, just like you said, it's kind of like a delayed notification thing where I said mail out. I'm like, all right, great. But then I got, dozens of leads, and I was just like, oh crap. Like, I was doing my best to work both, but Leah was just like it was much like an avalanche where it's just started to pick up more and more and more. And I just wasn't able to give these leads the love and attention that they need. Right. And that's, it's kind of on me there for just, biting off more than I could chew. And I got really good at that market, at least the workflow. You can always get better at picking markets and so on. But the workflow started to click and everything like that. So I sent out a bunch of mail. I have a ton of leads. And so what happened was I reached out into the Discord after seeing that gap, looking for some form of an acquisitions manager.
Nice.
And so this particular person has reached out only because he knew me through the connection we've made on these calls. He's not a student yet. Hopefully he will be someday. But he's going to basically run the entire acquisitions and disposition side of my business. And he has a team in place already. So we're working out the details in terms of obviously splits, and we're only going to do splits. So that's great. I don't have to pay them anything salary.
The way it should be for acquisitions.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's going to help me so much. Just like you're saying, I'm just going to ramp up that marketing, and, in months coming, we'll start seeing some checks come in and really get this thing going. But that's the biggest thing, right? Because Leah's my main focus, but that wouldn't have been possible. This whole thing wouldn't be possible without being a member on this team, but also the connection we made on those initial calls. It already seems like it's going to be a pretty good partnership. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Okay. So how much time do you think you dedicate towards your W-2 per day?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I probably don't have the best balance with that because I'm always checking my phone. I'm always texting people. Right. And that's fine because a lot of people are in a similar boat where they're working in W-2 and they're checking in with me after work and asking questions. And so that's fine with me, but I'm texting people constantly. But we'll say 40 hours just for the sake of this example, at least 40 hours a week. Just working with Leah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's about your average W-2 for a normal person, right? And what are your kind of like hours do you think you work? Like what between what and what kind of thing?
Yeah, I would say easily between 8 to 5, with some self-given breaks. Like a lunch break. I usually try to walk in the morning and walk in the afternoon. Sometimes hit the gym. You can always kind of manipulate it to when the meetings are, when you have to start, reaching back out to people and stuff. But yeah, that's my typical schedule, I would say.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So you think you probably have plenty of time in the morning to kind of start like getting your land business going. What do you think your day structure looks like? Do you typically like front load everything in the morning and then on the back end side, like get your mail out and all that stuff, whatever?
Yeah, great question. So I usually try to see the process through entirely, right? So I will pick a market, and whichever one makes that, like through that filtration process of, okay, let's look at it. Okay, is it rural rec? Cool. Is it 2-3 hours out of a major metro? Cool. Are there pockets, right? Is there pockets of action? So circle those ones out. If it goes through that process, looks all good, I'll take it from there, from Redfin, and then of course plan it on the Land Vision, get the data, and send it off to my mail guy immediately. I use Rocket Print and just send it to the account manager I have there, and then just kind of like be done with it, just so that I don't forget about it. B, obviously it kind of works through its own organization in my Google Drive folders.
Sure.
But then of course just getting it out, right? Because I think that's the biggest thing. At least the biggest theme I saw from talking with people like yourself and others at the big Leah event in October. But it's just getting mail out, right, at the end of the day. And that's what I'm really focused on. So that's my workflow typically. Usually I'll try to get like 2 or 3 pockets done a day. So that ranges from 500 to 1,500, give or take. Sometimes I do it just for exercise. What was that?
Sending whole counties or just pockets?
No, just pockets. Just pockets.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, so I'll usually do like 1 to 3, we'll call it. And then just grab that. So I'm looking, I try to be pretty targeted because it's pretty quick overall from like identifying that, making sure there's nothing weird going on with the county, or at least the pocket, and then taking that over into Land Vision. And usually I'm targeting, I'd say like 150. That might be a little small. I don't mind it because I'm trying to be super targeted. Like 150 to 500 pieces per pocket, just kind of depending on the whole thing in general and how many properties there are in there and stuff like that.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, see, I'm a little bit different because I like to do broad strokes, right? Because I feel if there's pockets of activity in a county, left, right, top, center, whatever the case may be, demand is probably relatively the same throughout the whole county. And for me, time is of the essence, right? So I'm like, the amount of time it takes for me to pick a pocket, price a pocket, do all that stuff, I'd rather just take the whole county and mail it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe my KPIs track a little bit higher, but my dollar per, like my ROE, my return on effort is way higher, right? Because now I could sit there, I could do this real quick. I could pull a whole county, price it in like less than 45 minutes, get it to Rocket Print and mail, done.
Yeah.
In 45 minutes. And that's like 3,000 pieces going out, right? And my KPIs tracked about 3,000, 3,500. We're edging a little bit lower because now I added 2 people to my team who are acquisitions, and they're working on getting some older leads, that we had, getting them touched on again. So we should actually whatever. So we're edging closer to about 3,500 now per deal, right? Close the actual deal. So the way I look at it, I'm like, if I could in 45 minutes send out 3,000 pieces of mail, in about an hour, I can basically generate 1 deal, right? If you think about it like that, if you reverse engineer it, right? Hour, I can price out 4,000 pieces of mail technically. So every hour, I can make about $30,000 per deal, basically, if it works out like that, right? I mean, obviously, there's a lot more to it, but relatively speaking, if market selection is your number one thing, right, just get it done quick. So I personally, I'm like, broad strokes, let me just do the whole freaking county. And hell, if this county's looking good too, like right next door, I'm going to do that county too, that county too, that county too. I just go for all the counties in those surrounding areas because generally I've seen if the demand is good here, 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 right?
Mhm.
So now I just priced out 12,000 pieces of mail. I can send that all out. As long as counties look good, like you said, nothing looks screwed up. So like my return on effort is really I guess you could say it's high, right?
Yeah.
Um versus like pockets cuz but also I'm not worried too much about my budget, right? So if I'm trying to keep to a tighter budget, pockets are important, right?
Yeah.
Um but if you have a good W-2, you're a high earner and you're just looking to start this business on the side, I feel like picking counties or pockets, whatever you want to do, you just kind of have to figure in your business which works best for you, right?
Mhm.
For you, it works, right? What's your KPIs tracking to right now?
Yeah, I'm looking at right now about a 1% response rate, and then
Solid, dude. I don't get a I don't get a one. I get like 0.25. I mean,
really,
I get like quarter percent to a half percent response rate.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm throwing strokes, right? So it's like you should be targeted because you're sniping in a
yeah,
way.
exactly that. Yeah, so we're getting like, but honestly, like to like converting that to actual leads, I'm at like 0.3% to actual like decent leads, right? The one thing I mean, this could just
Those are
be
blind offers, right? Sorry, I forgot.
yeah, blind
Okay.
offers for all those.
Right.
The one interesting thing I've seen, this could be entirely subjective just to my business, but I've gotten a few people who own like quite a bit of real estate. And I think that's what's so interesting about the land business in general is you mail these people who own pieces of land more
Yeah.
often, or it's not uncommon for them to own a bunch of other real estate, right?
Yep.
So I'm talking to one guy right now who owns like, gosh, like 30 parcels in this one pretty sweet county. And he also owns a self storage facility in this area as well. So
Ooh, where?
I want to sell. It's somewhere. It's in Montana. I think that's where the county.
Ooh, let me know.
I'll keep.
I have friends. I'm not buying them anymore, but I
Okay.
have friends that buy it. So if you end up, I got a buyer for you.
Perfect. Yeah. So, anyways, he's interested, and I think they put it on the market and couldn't sell it. It's a real small one, but it's one of those ones that if you just give it some love, it should do well. So, yeah, I'm working, but that's the thing though is there's just like so much cool opportunity talking to these people that own land, and there's been some other pretty sweet deals that have come across my desk, and someone that had like a fully entitled deal already, like it was like 300 acres or something like that in Tennessee.
Nice.
So I'm still talking to that guy and just trying to find a developer, honestly, and just kind of playing the middleman there. But that's what's so interesting about this business, right? And it's cool because you can get that assembly line in place, and that's kind of what I need to more focus on, I guess, if you will. Just kind of taking a look at the last. I've only been in land for about my own land business for about 3 months, I would say. But it's also like those opportunities are pretty sweet too.
Yeah. What I like about this business is it's like you're really ground up, right? You're
Mhm,
going to get people that own land that have other stuff that's finished and all that stuff. Now, coolest thing about the land business is it's a high cash flow business, right? You're
mhm,
building a cash machine, okay? It's like your own personal ATM, right? Now that ATM is going to spit out a butt ton of cash, butt ton of tax load, which you have to take care of. Now
mhm,
you're also going to get a lot of opportunity costs, like opportunities that come in from that, right?
mhm.
Those opportunities are typically our sellers. I've noticed most of my sellers are typically 60 plus. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if they own quite a bit of land, typically they own quite a bit of real estate. And I've noticed if we perform well on a piece of land, then they'll typically try to sell any other assets they own to us as well. We
Mhm,
bought a piece of land, bought it for 45K. I sold it in 10 days for 90,000, right? Awesome deal. Actually just closed. Actually, it was on the market for 6 days, and we had multiple offers, went under contract in, like, whatever, less than 10 days. Awesome.
mhm,
So now this seller, I've already made $45,000. Well, I'll actually make like 30 grand, but whatever.
mhm.
Um, I've doubled my money, and now this seller wants to sell me another property he owns. He's got like 3 it's a small it's like a 1 acre tract, but he's got 3 mobile homes on it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I want to sell it. It's already making $1,000 a month. I'm like, dude, no worries. I would totally buy that. So
Mhm.
like these opportunities come up because you're already talking to them. You've already built rapport. You've shown the number one thing that I can close, right?
Mhm.
So you're going to just build this instant rapport. They're not going to go to anybody else because they know Justin closes. So why would they go anywhere else? Justin could close. Oh,
Mhm.
you also buy storage units? Yeah, sure. Let's go. Like, that's the coolest thing. So it does open the door for a lot of different things. And that's why honestly, it's like one of the perfect businesses if you look at it, because it gets you into opening so many doors, you know,
Mhm.
and just having a high cash flow is just awesome, right?
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so in your land business, what do you say? How many hours do you say you spend on it?
Honestly, not that much. And I think obviously it was just kind of a weird time in general, with everything kind of going on, holidays coming up and all that stuff. I would say what I'm expecting to do now is probably an hour and a half a day. Um,
Crazy.
just getting that marketing ready. Yeah. And it's only gonna it's I mean, eventually we'll get to that point where we can just kind of send mail out to whole counties. Definitely need our first couple deals to close out entirely, which is fine. That's part of the startup process.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
it's about a 6-month cash conversion cycle, what I've noticed. So like if I
yeah,
put $1 in today, it doesn't come back with its friends for about 6 months, right?
yeah,
So typically that's what I'm seeing.
yeah,
Um, which is typical. I mean, if you look at wholesale real estate, that's actually a 9-month cash conversion cycle. Every guru will tell you in 30 days you'll make 50 grand, but they're just talking out of their ass.
yeah,
In in real estate, it actually takes time to make money because deals take time to close and all this stuff. Nobody's making 30 grand in 30 days. I'm sorry, it's such bullshit. So whoever guru says that, screw off.
yeah.
Realistically, though, I mean, if you're doing double closes, yeah, you could probably tighten that up to 3 months,
Mhm.
maybe a little quicker. But industry standard, I'd say 5 to 6 months is pretty, and that's good, man. Because when you put $1 out, it comes back with 18 friends every single time. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
Exactly. And that's the importance of like layering your mailing, right? Just
Yep.
continuing to get it out. That's what I tell especially newer people that are, trying to even if it's just like learning about land on our calls. It's like it's not just that initial first mailing. It's not the second one. What you want to do is okay, yeah, there's a 6-month gap, but then it's a month to month paycheck coming in, right?
Right.
Because you're collecting that inventory and then
Right.
just selling it off month to month after that.
Yep. It's
Um,
only a one-time thing that you have to wait that 6 months. Unless
exactly.
you stop mailing, you get a deal and you stop mailing, right?
Yeah,
But it's
exactly.
like your first time, you gotta wait, and then after that, it's all gravy boat after that. And it's
Exactly.
only as you increase your marketing, you increase your income. It's
Mhm.
it's pretty crazy. Your ROAS in this business is really high.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
like I see from the wholesale side of things, real estate, like general, it's between a ROAS typically on like regular wholesale real estate where everything is it's about 10x, right? 9x usually. It's return on ad spend. I don't know if you guys know that ROAS. So your ROAS in wholesale is about 9 to 10x. Now I'm seeing right now in my business 18 effective, but our projected is about 25%, 25x, 25x. So for every dollar I spend, I get 18 that come back.
Mhm.
Now it should be 25 because we actually get deals under contract, where they're at and everything like that. We ended up sometimes just closing them a little quicker just to get money back in the door.
Yeah.
But we were seeing pipeline profit over 25x, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've COVID, so my throat keeps going out. So I just gotta chloroseptic my mouth a couple times
No worries.
so I can continue to talk.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, but no, that's why land is so cool, right? Because we have a baseline in Leah where we expect to get students, but truly the sky's the limit once you have that system in place, right? And that's kind of like the baseline. And just kind of conveying that to everyone who's interested or already has a land business and is struggling or even has a land business
Yeah,
that's successful is that's great. We kind of see ourselves as adding rocket fuel to your ship or to your car, right?
yeah,
Wherever you are in land, and everything, as you know, is getting better in our community. We keep adding the right people, and it really just there's something about being around people who are trying to do exactly what you want to do or have already done it, right?
right.
It's extremely motivating for myself, and I'm sure it is for everyone else. But
Yeah,
that's really just the baseline. of where we're trying to get. And just like you explained, it's so high, the return. It's crazy.
Yeah. There's not many businesses that you could do this in. I own an electrical contracting business, and our average profit margin we run is about 20%, right?
Mhm.
And it's tough to hit those numbers, right? We're typically between 10 to 18% is what we hit, or we shoot for 20% profit margin. Okay.
Mhm.
Now we're doing a job, it's a $2 million job, right? It sounds like, oh my God, you're doing a $2 million job. Probably only going to make 10% profit,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's great. It's still awesome. It's $200,000, but it's going to take us like, I'll probably be doing that job for, between planning and actually doing it, 18 months. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, like that's a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of risk, because what if things go wrong and I miss something and whatever, and now my profit margin's gone, right? Sucks. Now, this land business, dude, it's totally different. You're talking about like you could double your money every single deal. And it's like, holy crap. Well, why aren't more people doing this? It's insane. But what I love about this business too, and I want to touch on this with what your team looks like, is this business is so repeatable and easily outsourced. Okay. It's such a great business because you can build it and then bring people in to do 90% of the work. Okay. So your inputs for your outputs are really low. Okay. That's what I really love about this business. And you could do it from literally anywhere in the world, right? We're getting our Italian citizenship. I'm going to be doing this from Italy once I move there, you know?
Nice.
So it's awesome because I could do it anywhere. And when I come back here, I still run the same business.
Mhm.
So, which is awesome. But what I really, really like about this is that how easy it is to like kind of do it anywhere. Um, with your business now, how big of a team do you run? Do you have a team? Are you building a team out? I know you just started, so it's like
Yeah.
obviously it's new, but
Mhm.
yeah,
For me, it's just myself at this current moment. We're bringing on that group to basically outsource our entire sales funnel, more or less. I just don't have the bandwidth to
sure.
truly do it. But that's the exact thing. Like, luckily, I don't have to train them. Right, I'm very fortunate and was able to make that connection. But
Oh yeah,
that's the great thing about. I mean, not to hype it up too much, but that's the great thing about Leah is they have all those resources readily available for you. Recordings,
yeah.
meetings with yourself, yourself, Dennis.
Hey,
And then, and then just the sales training channel and everything like that. Like that's all set up for people who want to do it, right? So if I wasn't fortunate enough to do that, that would be my next move to, consult you and the group overall. And the materials that are available. I mean, we have that SOP library that was just built out for acquisitions and dispositions. So that's
yeah,
where I would have gone. And luckily enough that this is probably going to work out pretty well. But um, right now, yeah, that's what my team looks like in general. Is it's going to be there are 3 people in total.
mhm,
I think I'm going to take on an intern as well, just to kind of shadow at first, and then because
sure.
I would imagine as we get more leads, I'm probably going to want to send more mail out, and then we'll probably have a role for him at some point. But yeah, that's what my team looks like right now, and I'm pretty excited to kind of build that out because the head of that other group wants to meet on a weekly basis and just kind of get some routine for that. And so, like, when you get that routine in place, from what I've been able to see, I see it on the Leah side of things, is when you can begin to forecast and expect certain things and understand when things are supposed to grow and maybe pull back a little, stuff like that. Because right now, there really hasn't been any routine on my
Mhm,
land business side of things. It's just kind of when I work, and
mhm.
that's kind of it, right? Which is, just like it is kind of the beauty of it.
Yeah,
But for starting out and wanting to reach a certain point this year, there has to be some kind of routine, at least, just some general team meetings and stuff like that
yeah,
set up. But yeah, that's what my team looks like right now. And, we have some pretty high goals in general for the year, but
love it.
just excited to get started, honestly.
Yeah, so what I think, what I brought on 2 VAs,
Mhm.
back in end of October, I think. I think I brought them on, and what I really like about them is I started them at 10 hours each, right? I could have given them 20 hours, but I'm like, I actually brought on 3 different VAs, tested them out, and I kept 2.
Mhm.
And now they each kind of self-selected their roles, right? One became my generalist. She's amazing. She helps me do everything, build my SOPs. Now we just upgraded her. She's still doing all our SOPs, notions, all that stuff, right? Keeps everything organized.
Mhm.
And then what she does now is she goes through and like pre-comps her deals, gets everything ready when a deal comes in to the pipe. She pre-comps it, gets everything prepped out, and then she does she goes through the leads, keeps everything organized, basically manages our Google chat and all that stuff, manages all that stuff, keeps our drive organized. She basically does our generalist, right? She does all that stuff.
Mhm.
Now, I keep her on a flat. You get 10 hours a week plus whatever hours you work if you work extra, right? So she has a base pay plus. Okay. It's kind of a little weird, but like sometimes if she has to work like 20 hours on a project that week, she does it. I don't have to worry, like whatever. But that's just kind of the deal we worked out.
Yeah.
And then she gets also bonuses. So for every contract we get, because what our job is, we have a second VA. The second VA, his job is pricing. He prices all our mailers. I pick the counties, drop them into his folder. He does all the pricing,
Mhm.
and then he gets it all ready. He pre-comps a couple deals to make sure they look good, and then Michelle back checks it. The two of them are basically fact checking each other.
Mhm.
She checks him to make sure he's doing it right, and this and that. As long as everything looks good, then we upload it. She uploads it to Rocketprint and sends it out. See you later.
Yeah.
So they look at it together, and then I brought on 2 acquisitions managers, and then we have Jackie she's a specialist, we'll call her. What she does is she does like all these like any lead that's like a problem child. That's
Yeah.
like Jackie's job. That's what she does. She takes all the problem child leads, she calls the neighbors, does things like that.
Okay.
Anybody who has like 1,000 signatures, it's kind of her thing.
Yeah.
And then we're bringing on a dispo person, and who else? Eventually, I'm going to bring on a TC person, probably like a full-time TC in the next like 3 months, I think. And then myself and Rob, right? That's our business. So what I really like is our VAs now, they have vested interest to see us succeed, not just from like a weekly paycheck level, but they get $100 per contract that we get, right? Closed contract. So
Yeah.
their job to price and to get the mail out good and make sure it's right, it's very advantageous for them. Because now if we're doing 10 deals a month, it's an extra $1,000 in their pocket, plus their regular pay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like they have vested interest, right?
Mhm.
Acquisitions, they get $1,000 per contract plus 5% of gross. Okay. Gross spread.
Okay.
So they have vested interest to do good because obviously that's a shit ton of money they can make. Just on contracts alone, they can make 10 grand a month easily.
Mhm.
And we're expecting to probably hit 20 contracts a month in the next like 8 months. That's my goal.
Yeah.
Is to get to that point. So now you're talking about they could be making 20 grand a month just
Yeah.
on contracts, not including gross spreads. Our gross spreads are buy for 70, sell for 140. That's a 70K spread. They're getting 5% of that. It's an extra $3,500 times that by 10, or 10, 20 deals.
Mhm.
It adds up quick. So there's money to be made everywhere in this business. Now,
Yep.
the coolest part about that is for me, every one of those jobs that all these people are making a ton of money, it allows me to go and do other things and do whatever I got to do. So you could basically build a business once you figure out all the little pieces, build a business that other people do for you. And my only inputs are market selection and then just confirming this is a deal. That's it. That's all I got to do.
Yep.
Right. So that's the really cool part. And I love it because like inside Leah, when I joined Leah, I didn't have to go through you, the gatekeeper, but I joined Leah through Sumner to basically I came to him and I was like, hey dude, you don't have sales coaching inside your program. Let me do it. And he's like, okay, you're right. I don't. So let's be a standout. So
Yeah.
that's basically how I got in. So I look at Leah, I'm like, dude, like for somebody, one, if you don't know real estate, if you don't know land, you don't know any of that stuff, coming into that, it's like drinking from a fire hydrant. It's like a ton of information.
Mhm.
But once you could start seeing it and seeing the information that's there, it's like, holy shit, this is like a complete blueprint for a business. Like I don't have to do anything except implement, right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole process is gone. Now, I haven't even looked at this SOP library. I'm pretty stoked to check it out. I'm definitely going to go through it, but there's just like overload of information. It's insane.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot. But I think that's the nicest thing, or at least the nicest compliment we can get on the Leah side of things is when people join in and they're like, "This is even more than what you sold me on," right?
Yep. Over deliver. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I always preach, right? And I'm always extremely conservative on those calls of like, hey, don't even expect, let's play devil's advocate here. Don't expect, a return for 6 to 8 months, right? And just really underselling everything and over delivering, right? I think that's so crucial to really what Leah is, right? We let our processes, our systems, and all the stuff that we provide kind of do the talking there. But yeah, I think overall, right, this is just such a huge opportunity, right? And I played a lot of baseball growing up, but a lot of people, I'm 27 years old, from, let's call it, even kids in college can get started in this business and be very, very strategic if they don't have the capital right away.
Yeah.
But life, from my experience, my very limited experience in this life, rarely provides you with such compare it to a fastball down the middle. Provides you such an easy layup if you're more of a hooper.
Yeah.
You've got to take the biggest swing, or you have to jump as high as you can to make sure it goes in, right? Because not a lot of these types of opportunities come around, right? I've been involved in real estate in some capacity, or always educating myself since I was in college, since I was 19, 20 years old. And you've been in the industry for a long time as well, so you can probably speak to that as well. But it's just such a cool opportunity overall to build a business that, just like you said, you can outsource your time, but also make a ton of cash. Like that's really what it is. And then it's up to you to, in my opinion, it's a great vehicle to buy assets, in other classes. And you can use that for a multitude of different advantages, whether it's on the tax side of things or just buying cash flowing assets. But that's where I really geek out on this stuff is what can you do with that and building a business. That's step one to building wealth is having a business that generates so much cash.
Yeah. That's the coolest thing too, is like, not only are you building it, right? You're building a business that's going to make you a shit ton of money. I'm also doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so are hundreds of people inside Leah, right? So now it's like, you just find your vibe, like find the people you vibe with and then just link up and say, hey, look, I'm looking to parlay my money that I'm making in this land business to buy passive real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to do it together. Now we combine all our money that we both make in our own businesses and then go buy passive real estate. And then in 5 years, you'll be unrecognizable. Like you won't even know who you are anymore. Your whole family will be like, what the hell happened to this kid? And then it's just insane. It's awesome. That's the coolest thing about this business is like, it could really transform every aspect of your life. And that's not just being like woo woo or anything like that. It's the absolute truth, because you really could just take this money and parlay it into any other venture and just watch that money grow. Like I just finished the book Shoe Dog. It's an awesome book. Phil Knight's about the story of Nike, right? Really great book. And everything about his entire business building Nike, he basically the entire time he struggled with money, never had capital, right? If you could make a ton of capital in this business, then you could parlay it into building another business that could be your Shoe Dog. It could be your whatever you want, right? This is just like your foundation, right? I really love the land business because it's such a foundational business that it allows you to start and jump off to any other aspect in the world, right? Not just real estate, anything you want, right? You could even just become a venture capitalist and just invest in other businesses, right? Let's say you're making, like we project in the next 18 months, where our goal is to get to $1 million net per month, okay, in our business. Now, that's our business net. After everybody gets paid, we should be getting about $1 million of income per month. Now, it's about $12 million a year. What can I do with that money? A lot, right? I could take 50% of that, obviously keep it in, buying land banking on stuff, or I could take, or I could take the other 50% and go invest in other businesses, stuff that I believe in, right? So imagine taking like $2 million and putting it into, Uber when it just got started, right? Pre-IPO. like you'd be mega rich. It's just because you have this like such a high income business, right? It's really cool. Like if you get into these other things, that's how people really grow. Um, and look at people like Landio and Hello Landio. You've seen them?
I have not.
Okay, so they're all over Instagram. You're probably gonna get all the ads now because I said it. They hear that. Um, they're all over Instagram, everything like that. They're basically one of the largest like land flippers, right?
Okay.
They start out just like me and you, right? Just flipping land, whatever. Then they got so big so fast. They hired a ton of people, a huge industry, and all this thing that now they've actually started their own brokerage. So now they took not just land flipping, but they're actually they have their own real estate brokerage. So where they take all these land deals that they were once, just flipping, now they're listing them too. So not only will they flip land, but they'll also list people's land. So
Yeah.
they've kind of built a whole other business like Mossy Oak Properties, Whitetail, that they started just because they started this. It's crazy,
Yeah, that is wild. One quick note, right? I think a common question I get in general, and I think that's exactly it. That's where the life changing stuff is. But a lot of people ask me, like, how much land can there really be, right? And I'd like to get your perspective on it as well. But it's really like, I mean, there's like 3,400 counties. I mean, there can be tens of thousands of properties in these counties. I mean, you can probably speak to this a little bit better, but yeah, that's my typical. I'm like, and the thing is there's so many owners that the circumstances change so often with a piece of land, whether it's inherited or foreclosed on, whatever it might be. Opportunity is everywhere, and we're only looking for that, 0.5 to 1% response rate, and even from there, a quality lead anywhere from, I would say, 0.2 to 0.3 is probably pretty good in terms of percentage response, quality lead. But yeah, I'd love to get your feedback on that. That's just like a common question I get. It's like, well, how much land can there really be out there?
All right, so let me just show you something, okay? A quick Google search, okay? Yeah. How much land does Bill Gates own? Because everybody says, well, Bill Gates owns all that land. He's trying to buy up all the farmland in America. Okay. Bill Gates owns 275,000 acres. Now, the reason why Bill Gates invests in land, in farmland especially, is year over year, over the last, I think, 150 years plus, it has been the most stable asset class to park your money. Simply put, it is one of the most stable assets to park your money. Now, he owns 275,000 acres. They said he's buying up all the acreage farmland in America. There is 895 million acres of farmland. That's just one zoning class. So not every piece of land in America is zoned farmland, right? So let's just look at that one number alone. So let's do this. Ready? Let's go calculator.com. All right, so we have, this was 895 million. Okay, close 895, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, divided by, Bill Gates owns 275,000.
Yeah.
275,000. I might have done this wrong. Let's see. Yep, I did. 275, 1, 2, 3, divided by 895, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Bill Gates owns zero. He owns what? 0.03% of all the farmland in America. 0.03. Not 1%, not 0.5%, not even like 0.1%. He owns a 1/320% of all the land in America. Okay.
Yep.
So he owns like nothing. Now that's just farmland. Now let's see how much acreage is there in the contiguous United States. Okay, land area has 1,895,000,000. No, wait, yeah, 1,895,800,241 contiguous acres. Okay. Now let's look at this. How much acreage is developed in the contiguous. Okay. So let's see. What percentage of land in the U.S. was developed? 6%. Okay. So 6% of 1.9 billion. 1, 9. 1, 2. This is gonna be. Let's say clear. 1 billion 9. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 times 0.06. So that means there is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 114, 114 million acres that are developed.
Mhm.
Okay, so that means there are 100.
It's like 1.5 billion or
Yeah,
so, or
call it 1.7 billion,
1.7.
1.7, yeah, 1.785 billion. There's 1.87 billion, 1.875 billion acres of land, rural land in America. Like that's crazy if you think about it.
Absurd. It's
Um,
absurd. I think like that alone just shows you how much opportunity just in the land flipping side of things, and
yeah,
we are all getting more involved in like the land value add type of play in general, but how much opportunity there is, because as more people get familiar with land in general and flipping land, and more people are looking to get out of the major metros and get in, buy their own land in general, and even as population slowly increases or continues to increase, right?
yeah,
Like it's just kind of a revolving wheel of this is going to be around for a while. And I think that's why it's so important for people to at least take a look now and see if it's for you, right? Because again, just not a lot of opportunities come across like this, right? Land has been so underserved for so long in terms of technology. It's really just starting to catch up, and that's why there is so much opportunity. But we only have 170 students in our community, and there are probably, we'll call it 1,000 land investors that are truly running and operating a business. That is so much pie for everyone to go around, right? And it
Well,
can double, triple, 10x, and it still is fine.
right. And you also have to think about Pareto's principle on that too. Okay,
Mhm.
so let's say there's 1,000. Now there's only probably 80-20 of that. 200 of them are actually probably, you know, pretty successful, like actually doing deals. I'd say not even successful, just actually doing deals, right? Because some people just get in it, they start it, they mail out 5,000, and then they just kind of like fizzles out. And nobody does anything, right? You're going
Yeah.
to see that all the time.
Mhm.
I'd say inside Leah, that's the opposite. I'd say we're the opposite trend of the Pareto's principle.
Yeah.
Most of the people inside like the Leah group coaching side of things, almost everybody in there is seeing some type of success and really doing it really well.
Mhm.
Um, so I think we're the 80%, not the 20% there, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But overall in the industry, so now you got 20% of the people that are actually doing something about it and actually whatever. And I'd say there's probably an 80-20 into that are actually the successful ones, right? The Sumners, the Clint Turners, people like that that are
Mhm.
actually sitting there and making good money every single month, right? You probably only have maybe 40 people that are actually successfully doing that
Mhm.
at a high level. I could name like probably 10 or 15 of them right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy. Like if you think about it, like there's so much opportunity here. And even if you think like, oh, it's oversaturated, guys, if you've ever done wholesaling houses, like it is not oversaturated. Every other guy you talk to is a wholesaler. Okay. And yet they're still getting deals. So it's just about people like who's one the most aggressive, right? Who can actually do the deals and isn't scared. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy how much land there is and the amount of opportunity that's there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy.
I
So that's awesome. So you're going to grow your business this year, which I'm excited to see that.
Mhm.
I'm excited to see you more on Leah, more on the YouTube channel and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I think that's a big focus for me, right? Because at this point, I feel like as Leah continues to grow, like that's my number one focus. But I always want to be involved in real estate, and just like we've been hyping up. And I swear, I'm the most. I hate courses in general. I've never been a fan of this stuff in general, but seeing and evaluating so many different types of real estate businesses and being involved in them, the numbers just work in this stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping to just get out there and honestly just meet more people in the space. I've started a land focused and even a high ticket group focused Twitter channel for anyone that's interested in following the journey.
Drop it in the comments.
Justin Daniel. I'm not exactly sure how to do that. Justin Daniel and on Twitter, CC Land Group or at CC Land Group. Cypress Canyon Land Group is the business name. But really just hoping to connect with more people. Right. And I think that, again, there's just, as we clearly just labeled out, there's so much opportunity. I want to get involved. I want to work with people. I want to help continue to change people's lives, both on the Leah side, of course, as well as anyone that wants to partner up or, whether it's fundraising or working on a project together. I'm all about it. So that's what I'm trying to do. Obviously, I want to continue hopping on YouTube and helping out however I can here. And, hopefully I want to start a podcast eventually.
Let's do it, man.
What we can do. Yeah. I think there's a lot to be learned. I think that I know so many people in general that, they grind so hard for a paycheck every month, but it doesn't always have to be like that, and there's nothing wrong with that by any means. Right. You got to provide as always, but, there's just so much opportunity here. Right. And you don't have to live like that for the rest of your life. And I think that's what we're all fighting for. And again, just taking that big swing once you get that fastball down the middle, just take as big of a hack as you can. I'll throw the Twitter in the comments. That's probably where I'm going to be communicating the most, outside of course, our Discord channel and the private Discord channels in Leah. But I'm looking really forward to this year. I mean, you want to get to what is it, $1 million a month in 18 months? My goal for this year is to do 550,000 in net in land. So we can hold each other accountable there.
Dude, you'll do that easy. Think about work backwards from there. What's your average? Like my average profit per deal, we shoot for $30,000 per deal, right? So that's 15 deals for you.
Mm-hmm.
Done. That's just now 15 deals times 4,000 pieces of mail, right? That's you got to send out 60,000. 15 deals, 4,000, 40,000, 60,000 pieces of mail. So you have to send out 60,000 pieces of mail, right, to get that. That means for $30,000, you could make 550.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, but it's like it really is that simple.
That's the formula. That is the formula.
It's nuts. And then the best part about it is, like, inside Leah, like Jeff says too, like if you're ever struggling, like everybody like rallies around you and raises you up. Like when you're having a tough time with getting on, like picking markets, doing all that stuff, like you just drop it in the thing. Like Brad, inside the group coaching thing, he's like, dude, I sent out this much mail. My response rate is shit, this and that. Before I hopped on here, me and him were on a meeting. I hopped on a call with him. I was like, dude, let's look at it together. Let's figure out why. And I know Sumner's doing that with him too. And like, a bunch of people, Jerry's helping, everybody's trying to help him because that's what it's about, man. It's like lifting each other up. You're not my competition. You're my brother. Like that's the way it should be. Have an abundance mindset with that stuff.
Exactly. It'll multiply over time. Right. And whether it's down the road or just in general, good karma overall. Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the big, like, people always ask me, like, why don't people fail? It's like people get discouraged and, don't raise their hand. Like we'll go as far as we can to the, the limits of the earth to help out in Leah, right? Just like you said, taking time out of your guys' day is invaluable.
Right.
Just got to ask, right? It's okay if you get knocked down a little bit with some mail. Like I think Michael said he sent out, he's had campaigns that have netted him zilch and there was like 10,000 pieces or something like that. So
I just had one I sent out December. I sent out 6,000 pieces in December, and I messed up on one county because it was when we were training a VA, and 3,500 pieces out the door, dead, boom, whatever. Like that just happens, right? And then last year I sent out before like I really started following Leah, I sent out 10,000 pieces. I got nothing.
Yeah.
Zero. Nothing. No deals, no calls.
Yeah.
So, and I realized, I'm like, well, I was pricing it wrong. I was doing this wrong. I was doing that wrong. And it just took me talking to the group to figure out, dude, I messed up.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think I had one mailer. I've been very targeted with my marketing, but I think I had one that was like 2,000 pieces. And it was a much needed learning lesson on the marketing side of things, but it was like a pretty populated county in South Carolina. I can't remember which one exactly, but that was like 2,000 pieces, and I didn't get a single response. Actually, I got one response with one guy telling me to F off. And
Yeah.
that was that. I was just like, and he wanted like double market value for his property. So I was like, all right, lesson learned, stick to your guns in terms of like rule rec and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Love it.
overall lesson for this year is just always ask for help overall in the Leah group, and obviously jump in. It's pretty fun.
Dude, I appreciate you like hanging out with me today. I think you should do this more. Come on every Wednesday, 2:30. Just let me know. You're always invited. We'll just hang out and talk business. And I think this could be a good point too to hold each other accountable and see where we are. And just keep following up and saying, hey, where are you at? What do your numbers look like? What are you mailing? Why aren't you mailing? Let's keep doing that. I actually have to run because I have to go meet a contractor at a house. But yeah, dude, this is a good time. I hope people see like you could do this and work a W-2, no freaking problem. No problem at all.
Just a couple hours a day. That's all you need. If you can give that, you can succeed. But yeah, I'm definitely down, Dennis. Let's keep doing this, and appreciate the time as well. This was a lot of fun.
Always, man. All right, cool. Great hanging out with you, bro. Aaron, I'm gonna hit you up. Don't worry, Aaron. I see you in the comments. Aaron's an awesome dude. He's just getting his land business off the ground. Perfect. So he's gonna crush it this year. Cool guys. Well, I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. This is a good one. I'm really excited for the new year and excited for hell. I mean, if you're gonna looking to join Leah, you're gonna be talking to this guy. So
yeah, hopefully see you guys soon.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, have a good one, guys. Appreciate it. You have a wonderful day and good luck this year. See you next week.